especially when we look at the legality of the existence of the broad-based government. Professor argues that it's a violation of the Constitution. Some people would label it as impunity at the highest level. But you argue that during the second term or maybe during the Grand Coalition government is when the Kibaki government managed to, deliver for the people of Kenya. Kenyans would have expected that perhaps, we have the face of ODM that formed the Grand Coalition government and now working together with the current government. Kenyans would have expected that at least there is such growth to be witnessed, even though there's that acknowledgement that this is pure and outright impunity.
So the three key points here are these. Number one is that is there a broad-based government, and is it constitutional, and is it impunity? Then there is the question of tribalism. What does it mean in this context when you discuss the way? And then lastly is about how debt funds have been expended in historical, but especially in the pre-BBG, pre-broad-based government era. The Constitution 2010 is very clear about pre-election and post-election coalitions. And some of those are also elaborated in the Political Parties Act. Right. And it's a recognition that you might have a pre-election coalition or you might have a post-election coalition, depending on the circumstances. And Kenya has experimented with some of these. See, from the days of just immediately after independence, they used to be mainly interpersonal, inter-ethnic, to some extent it's a bit inter-party, but mainly but they were not really structured within the constitutional framework. It wasn't that very clear, because Kenyatta 1 and Moi read government as in terms of a personal decision on whom I want to work with, and they didn't want any idea. That's why they killed multipartism, which had to be revived from 1992, because it was just about me and my people, etc., etc. Right. So pre-election coalitions and post-election coalitions, or even the handshake was within that framework, and the BBG. But is BBG only UDA and ODM? Please, I think let us note, history and facts are self-evident. It's what lawyers call res ipsa loquitur. It is so obvious, it's clear. This administration was essentially formed in the context of the President Ruto and DP Gachagua. A lot of the nominees at cabinet level or at PS level or at senior government level that were made by DP Gachagua are still in this administration. Okay. And even after DP Gachagua was impeached, there are CSS and PSS who are nominated by fourth President Uhuru Kenyatta. Why is that not being mentioned? And they don't belong to UDA, nor they belong to ODM. Let us not just recklessly dismiss facts which are clear. And lastly, for me, is the question of tribalism as an issue that is reflected in debt, and regionalism as an issue reflected in our debt expenditures, especially in the pre-BBG era. There are a lot of funds which were borrowed during Kibaki. Yeah, and you can even go all the way to Kenyatta 1. A lot of funds which were borrowed during Uhuru Kenyatta. Right. You will see that in terms of infrastructure, where was that concentration? And with due respect, even Mau Rose, there were commitments, there were so many infrastructure projects. Where did SGR end? SGR was budgeted to end all the way to Western Kenya, Kisumu, Busia, etc. But where did it end during Kenyatta? Those are issues that Kenyans must ask. And so that when Thika Superhighway, there is this road from Mombasa all the way to Kisumu, Busia, Malaba. it's a major international commitment that Kenya also need to build its part. But instead of helping build that, what did we do? We focus on bigger superhighway, etc., etc. And in some parts of the backyard of Kibaki and Kenyatta, village parts are tarmacked. While in many counties in this country, until recently, and even up to now, some roads connecting, major roads connecting our counties are not tarmacked at all. And so let us check the infrastructure network, and we can look at Articles 89 and we look at Articles 188 on some of the key parameters that we should look at when we are investing our funds. It's about the population, it's about the physical facilities which are there, infrastructure facilities which are there, and it's about geographical expanse. We need to have been equitable from the word go. So this is an area. Of course, there are still challenges, even under BBG. Let us accept that there are still challenges. But inclusivity, development with equity, development must, or growth must go with equity. Otherwise, we have the challenges we had.
And is that not supposed to be the duty of devolution? We come back to you. And is it about a president or devolution in itself, which was supposed to actually make sure that there's that equity felt across the country? But briefly, let's talk about this question of debt and him being a researcher in the space of economy. Just how bad is it when we are talking about debt and that this